The latest edition of Forbes Woman Africa will be out soon. Methil Renuka, the editor of the magazine, is here to give us a taste of what to expect. Renuka, looking at that cover, we think Forbes Woman Africa, and what comes to mind is strong businesswoman. And we have a beauty queen in front on the cover of that magazine. Does that make sense?
First of all, hi David and to me. I'm very excited to be sitting here.
Let's have a look at this cover.
The Feb-March issue of Forbes Woman. I personally loved coming up with this issue, putting this together. To answer your question, why a beauty queen on the cover? My answer is, why not? The beauty of business, the business of beauty is big in South Africa. And people look up to young, icons. And she is a young icon. She represents a new wave of young women on the continent who are comfortable sitting in the boardroom, who are comfortable as CEOs, and they embrace their beauty and femininity so well. And in her case, she is she's studying to be a medical doctor. So after her reign, she will get back to her anatomy books and she will train to be a doctor. And she wants to open a health business, a medical business. To me, that's a subset of, she's a small representation of the youth in Africa. And this is the way they're going forward. They're thinking creatively, thinking out of the box, and they're coming out of those conventional roles. And she really is it. And the second, my second point to that, answer for that is, the African beauty, the triumph of African beauty, the African beauty is conquering the world stage. So last year we had Lupita Nyong'o. The year before that we had Alec Weck, and this time it's Rolene Strauss. So I think it truly merits a cover on beauty, and it really, as we say, it's a triumph of African beauty. So
it'd be interesting to see also how you handle an article, because often when it's a businesswoman on the cover or man, what is your management style, what was your qualification? Now, this kind of interview would be different. So she's not a manager in a big company, and she's relatively young compared to a lot of the business people that go undercover. So how do you approach an interview like this?
Well,
and you don't want the normal thing, I want to help children and I want to give money to charity.
Absolutely. But that is important as well, because
I'm not saying it's not important, but it's a bit of a cliche.
Yes, profits and philanthropy go hand in hand these days. Well, in her case, you try and draw out her real story. Like she's a test tube baby. Her world literally started in a petri dish. And now look at her, she's conquered the world stage, she is Miss World, and the crown has come back to South Africa after 40 years. So what we did is we went back to previous pageant winners, we asked them about their opinions, and they're saying it was very different from back then. The prizes are so different from, the prizes that they won in their time. And they also spoke to a beauty expert on, the business of beauty. But the idea is to draw out, the real story, to go behind the scenes, to try and uncover, what I like doing on the covers and even in the stories inside the magazine is peel off the layers, bring the real women to the fore. And that's what I really essentially love doing for the magazine, whether it's entrepreneurs, opinion leaders, or thought leaders. We try and tell the untold story, and there's a big readership for those kind of stories. I always get emails from young people saying that they're very, very inspired reading those stories. So obviously there is a readership, and this readership is made of aspiring entrepreneurs, aspiring leaders, and the young women on the continent want to hear these kind of stories. And I'll give you another example. There's Angelique Kidjo as well. She won the Grammy recently for Eve, which is an album dedicated to African women. I mean, she is an African songstress who has made it big in the world stage. But she, again, is going to the next level, which is working for humanity. I mean, she was at Davos recently for the WEF Summit. And there's a quote, she said that Africans should make Africa their priority. So I like the fact that people are using fame, they're using that platform to do greater things. So whether it's Rolene Strauss or Angelique Kidjo, that's what's happening. I mean, they're looking at the other end of the spectrum as well, in a way trying to give back in their own way.
Renuka, Forbes Woman Africa has been on the shelves for the past year. Before we start talking about upcoming trends, let's reflect a little bit. What have you learned being in this position, being in this industry?
Wow.
What have you learned about women? Tell us.
Well, I joined the company in February 2014. The magazine was launched in October 2013, so it's been a year and 4 months now. For me personally, it's been a wonderful, wonderful journey. I've transformed the magazine. If you see, it's bright, bold content. It's more visually led. I feel that's very important. It's shorter text because we're in a digital environment, and readers want to see shorter text, and the attention spans are so less. So that's how you reform traditional media. You try and adapt to the current environment. Now, personally, as I said, I've transformed the magazine, and it's been a great journey of meeting very interesting people on the continent, and I'm sure I'll uncover and discover more as I go along. But the reflections would essentially be, oh God, this is a continent of great, powerful women, and women who've so far not been spoken about. Imagine, this magazine is only a subset, as I said earlier, it's only a subset of this large mass of, that collective workforce of women. They're still so far untapped. And what we need to do, this is just a prudent platform to bring their voices forward and to tell them that they are important in nation building, they're important in Africa's growth story.
Well, it'll be fascinating to see how this grows and grows, because the potential is there. Thanks to Methil Renuka. She's the editor of Forbes Woman Africa.